What if I told you that your green card, the very document you fought so hard to earn, could be taken from you in a moment, even if you followed every rule, filed every tax return on time, and built your entire life in America? There are 5 critical mistakes that can wipe out everything you've achieved. And the most alarming part, most people don't even realize they're making these mistakes until the damage is already done. The first major threat to your status is serious criminal convictions, and this is where things become extremely confusing. The term you must understand is aggravated felony. Here's the dangerous part. An aggravated felony under U.S. immigration law does not have to be a felony in your state court. Yes, you heard that correctly. Your state may charge you with a misdemeanor. You might pay a small fine, avoid jail completely, and think the matter is behind you. But under federal immigration law, that same offense can be labeled an aggravated felony. And once that label is applied, everything changes. Federal immigration law operates with its own definitions and standards, and those standards are often far more severe than state criminal laws. Crimes that fall under this category include theft, regardless of how small the amount was, fraud, even when it seems minor, assault, even in cases where no injuries occurred, and any form of violent or threatening behavior. The determining factor isn't how much time you served or whether you served time at all. The federal system focuses on the nature of the offense and decides its own level of severity. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Imagine you're a green card holder who has lived in the U.S. for more than a decade. You own a home, your children were born here, you have a stable career. One night an argument escalates. Maybe someone accuses you of taking something. The prosecutor offers you a deal. Plead guilty to a misdemeanor. Pay a small fine. Do some community service and the case will be closed. You don't want to drag the issue out or go through the stress of a trial. So, you accept. You pay your fine. You finish your community service. You move on. But here's the nightmare you never saw coming. Months later, or even years later, you apply to renew your green card or you travel internationally and attempt to re-enter the country. Suddenly, you receive a notice to appear in immigration court. The misdemeanor you thought meant nothing. Immigration authorities classify it as an aggravated felony. And once that happens, you're facing mandatory detention and almost guaranteed deportation. Judges have very limited flexibility, and your long history in the U.S., your home, your career, your children may not be enough to save you. That's why this next piece of advice is absolutely critical. If you are ever arrested or charged with any crime, no matter how minor it seems, you need 2 attorneys, a criminal defense lawyer for your state charges, and an immigration attorney who understands how those charges impact your federal immigration status. These attorneys must work together before you accept any deal, before you make any statements, and before you take any step that could destroy your future. The second major threat is drug charges, and immigration law has almost zero leniency here. Many people assume that minor drug offenses, especially small amounts, won't harm their status. That assumption is dangerously wrong. Drug convictions trigger some of the harshest results in all of immigration law. Possession of cocaine, heroin, meth, ecstasy, or prescription medications not prescribed to you, even if you are holding them for someone else, can all lead directly to deportation. The quantity does not matter. 1 pill, a trace amount, residue in a bag. Under immigration law, that's enough to end your legal status. There is one narrow exception, possession of under 30 grams of marijuana on a first offense. But that exception is extremely limited, and countless people mistakenly think they qualify when they do not. Here's where things get even more dangerous. Let's say you were arrested, and the prosecutor offers you a diversion program, complete treatment, stay clean, and the charges get dismissed. You finish the program, the charge disappears, you relax, but immigration authorities can still treat the case as a drug violation. If you admitted at any point that you possess the drugs, that admission alone can be used to deport you, even without a conviction. This is why any drug charge demands immediate immigration guidance. Every word you say, every detail of your case, every agreement you sign can determine whether you stay or are removed from the U.S. The third threat is domestic violence or family-related disputes, and immigration law treats these cases with extreme seriousness. Any physical conflict, threatening behavior, or violation of a protective order involving a household or family member can make you deportable. And family member includes far more people than you might assume. Media group, family portrait with diverse generations, various relatives gathered in home, Ex-spouses exchanging children at doorway. Is stock distribute equally? A spouse or ex-spouse, children and stepchildren, partners you live with, parents or in-laws living with you. Even misdemeanor domestic charges are considered extremely serious under immigration law. You may receive no jail time. You may be offered counseling or anger management classes, but if you plead guilty, even to a misdemeanor, you may have just pleaded guilty to a deportable offense, and once immigration sees it during a green card renewal, naturalization, or routine check, the consequences can be immediate. Before accepting any plea in a domestic violence case, you must consult an immigration attorney. There are sometimes safer legal alternatives, but you'll never know unless you seek proper guidance. The fourth major threat is immigration fraud, which can actually resurface decades later. This includes, lying on immigration forms, using false documents, entering a fraudulent marriage, or misrepresenting facts during interviews. Here's what makes this terrifying. Immigration fraud has no expiration date. There is no time limit. You could have received your green card 20 years ago, lived responsibly ever since, and still face revocation and deportation if authorities later discover fraud in your old application. Marriage-based cases, employment-based cases with false job details, asylum claims with exaggerated facts, and family petitions with inaccurate information are all pretty common situations where fraud is eventually uncovered. Honesty isn't just recommended, it's mandatory. Even a small misrepresentation can destroy your entire status years later. The fifth threat may seem minor, but can cause major problems. Failing to update your address within 10 days of moving. It won't get you deported on its own, but when combined with other issues, it can seriously harm your credibility and be used against you in court. Updating your address takes just minutes. Yet many people forget and create unnecessary complications for themselves. The broader reality is this: immigration enforcement is now faster and stricter than ever. Cases move quickly, hearings are shorter, judges face pressure to clear backlogs, and mistakes, big or small, can lead to immediate removal. That's why prevention is your strongest protection. So, what can you do? First, if you ever face any criminal charges, you must consult an immigration attorney before making any decisions. Second, be completely truthful and accurate in every immigration filing. Third, update your address within 10 days of every move. Fourth, maintain thorough documentation of your life and ties in the United States. Fifth, stay informed about changing immigration laws and policies. And finally, if you suspect past errors or misrepresentations in your applications, speak with an immigration attorney before you face any problems. Your green card isn't a finish line. It requires ongoing compliance. Your legal status can be lost faster than most people realize. Criminal convictions, drug charges, family disputes, immigration fraud, or administrative mistakes can all lead to removal. But here's the empowering truth. Knowledge protects you. By understanding these risks and acting wisely, you can preserve your legal status and keep your American future secure. Here at Legal Lens USA, we bring you accurate, practical, and life-changing immigration information. You know who holds legal status in the United States. This information could truly save their future. And remember, while this video gives important general guidance, it is not a substitute for personalized legal advice. If you're facing any of these situations or you're concerned about your status, consult a qualified immigration attorney immediately. Your American dream is worth protecting. Your family's future depends on it. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe. This is U.S. Immigration Information, bringing you the immigration information that matters most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.